Um let's start with. So, yesterday we have discussed about the software testing, right? So, I explained what is software and what is testing and what the content we are going to cover. So, software is our set of executable programs, and we have application softwares in the market. There you need to contribute the QA responsibilities on testing that particular softwares on different platforms, Windows, websites, mobile. Okay. So nowadays the companies are recruiting individual testing for each and every set of functionality verifications actually. So we are not going to cover all the platforms testing or all the kind of testing. So we are not sure on which platform we will be allocated. So that's why we need to learn everything. Okay. So today what I will explain is for testing a software, coming to manual and automation. So we are verifying all the flows actually. Okay. So apart from manual and automation, you need to understand the end-to-end flow of the software functionality, how the softwares are exactly working. Okay, let's consider this Amazon website because we will use this so you can able to easily understand. Okay, so whatever you are seeing here, this is what I am calling it as a front end. Okay, or we will also call it as a web user UI, web user interface. Okay, so this is a website. This is, I am also calling it as a web user interface. This is a interface. So I am saying Amazon is a interface. Interface means it is a mediator, we would say. So on which it is a interface, Amazon is a interface between both two things. Okay, so Amazon is interface between the customers and the product vendors. It is an interface between the two peoples. Okay, because Amazon is not implementing the iPhones or the fridges or the ACs, whatever you are purchasing. Amazon is not developing that particular things. Okay, Apple company is providing the all these particular iPhones or iPads for all these things. Apple is the company which is the manufacturer of the iPhones. But what this Apple company is doing is they are using this Amazon website and they are adding their all products into Amazon so the customer came and they can able to purchase. That's why I'm saying it as a user interface. It's an interface between the customers and the vendors who is developing. If you consider Flipkart also the same. Okay. So if you go with the Flipkart also, you can able to see two things actually. Flipkart.com. Okay. So if you see the flipkart.com, here also the same. There are lot of products are there. They are using Flipkart to place their products into Flipkart application. Okay, so you are not paying anything to Flipkart application, correct? But how the Flipkart is getting money? So you should understand. They are also having two logins actually. One is for the customers, so you can log in here and you can able to purchase the items. Another thing, become a seller. We have another subscription which is available in the Flipkart. If you want to sell online anything with Flipkart, you need to log in yourself and you need to take some subscription over there to add your products into Flipkart and to sell your products to the customers. Okay, that is how the Amazon and Flipkart is earning. So you are not paying anything. Then how the Amazon is earning? So you should think, right? Similarly, if you are using Rapido, so you are not paying anything to the Rapido, but you are paying some money to the Rapido delivery partners. Okay, the amount you got, let's say for example, 100 rupees, you are paying to that particular amount to Rapido. Out of that, they will get some percent of amount and they need to pay some percent of amount to the Rapido app actually. Okay, they need to pay at least I think 18 rupees, 20 rupees, like that they need to pay to the Rapido app. So on every ride the Rapido company is getting the money. So like that they are getting the amounts by earning from the customers actually. So whatever you are seeing here, I am saying this as a front end UI, front end user interface. Okay, for example, I am searching for the iPhone. Okay, iPhone 16 Pro Max. I have typed it and I clicked on the search button. So what it is happening, so whatever the iPhone 16 related mobiles are there, everything is came into my result. How it is coming? Only iPhones are coming with different colors, different the memory specifications and different prices. All the mobiles which is having, if you see the count here, I got 8,000 records which is having the iPhone 16 Pro Max related results. Okay, for example, I am clicking get it by today. Okay, what is happening? My count was reduced from 8,000 to 190. So today deliverable items I have only at 190. With a single click I got only few items which was delivered by today. Okay, so if you want to more, I can segregate based on the storage capacity. I want only 512 GB or above of memory mobiles. If I click on this particular checkbox, again I got only 9. From 19 to I got only 9. With single clicks you are managing your application based on your customer requirements. Correct? So it won't happen on it. So you are doing or you are maintaining something on the back end. So that's why your front end is working in such a way, like the customer that can able to use this particular application. Okay, so that's why what I will do is I will explain you the architecture of the software. Consider this as an Amazon application. So whatever you are seeing, that is your front end web UI, and you have the back end also. Okay, so this is what I am calling it as a front end web UI. So this is my user interface which the customers are using this particular application. Okay, this is what I am calling it as a front end web user interface. So this system I am calling it as a backend system. So what exactly backend will have? Okay, so backend will be having the databases and the backend will be having the API. So two systems we have, that is one is database to store the data. So in middle we have the API. So API is nothing but application programming interface. So API I am calling it as a application programming interface. Okay. For example, so the same scenario, I have searched for the iPhone Pro 16. So I am searching from web UI. I send request to the API. So API again it is an interface. It is an interface between the front end and back end. It is directly cannot able to give the request to the database. Through API it will give the request. And if the response is get from the database, the response will be given to API, and the API is giving that response to the front end, and you are able to see it in the screen. So it everything will be happen in a fraction of seconds. So you can also able to see the API calls in the browser if you open this network tab. So what you can do is you can right click here and you can click on inspect. This window will be open. You can able to see all your API calls, or press on Control Shift I, then also this window will come, the network tab. So whatever the task identify, hit the search button for this particular products. So inside this particular network tab I can able to see some API calls over here. So these are interacting with the databases and it is taking the data from the databases. Okay, so you can search the data from the databases through this particular API calls, which means, so this is giving request to API. So if you see here, this is the request we are sending. So don't worry, while explaining API I'll explain clearly how the APIs will work, but high level you can see now. You are sending the request and you are getting the response. How much time you are getting to get the response, you can able to see it. Within a fraction of milliseconds you are getting the response. Okay, we are sending the request, we are getting the response from the backend databases, and that response is interpreting to this particular browser, and you can able to see all these particular images, prices and all the things. Okay, for example, you are able to see this particular image. How this particular image you can able to see it is that image can be created in one particular JPG file that they are attaching in this particular code. So that's why you are able to see this particular image for the particular product. So with respect to database, you need to validate the price is coming correctly, the color is coming correctly, and the name is coming correctly. So everything we need to validate whether the data is coming correctly or not. Okay. So in databases, how the data will be stored is the data will be stored in the form of tables. The data will be stored in the form of tables. What they will do is they will create a table with the name of iPhone. So I am creating the name with the name of iPhone. So what I will do, so with iPhone Pro 16, I will create the columns for name, price, ratings, okay, color of the mobile, and GB specifications, okay, RAM, storage, okay. So based on the customer, so if the customer is asking on the particular price, okay, they are adjusting the price of this particular thing, and based on the price also you are able to get the mobiles. If I have adjusted the price from here to here, then again you will be getting count of only 264 mobiles from 8,000. So based on your specification, how it is coming is the front end UI is requesting the database based on the request parameters whatever we have requested. So it will search in the database tables. If the data is available, then the data will be given to API, and API is giving that response to the interfaces. This is how the end-to-end architecture of the application software will work. So you should understand the flow from front end to back end, how it is communicating, and from back end to front end, how it is communicating. You should understand that particular flow through the API functionality. So that's why I said yesterday we are going to understand the API testing by using the Postman tool. This is what we are going to cover, and also we will be covering the database testing by using SQL queries. Why? Because you need to query the database because you have the data in a very huge format. If it is a less data, you can store it into the small Excels also, but that interaction to the front end it is not possible. So you have to interact this data to your front end. So that's why you have to store in the database with a table format of data, and you can call whatever the data which is required based on the query language, that is SQL queries you can write, and with that you can able to get the data. Okay, but you need to validate, okay, for this particular model, for this particular color, you are getting the correct details or not, that is also you need to validate from the database table. Okay, so that's why companies is recruiting separate testing team for the database verification, separate testing team for the API verifications. So we are not considering everyone is doing end to end, but end to end you should understand the flow, then only you can able to work effectively on your current module. Okay, understood?
Yes.
So this is the end to end flow of your software working functionality. Okay, yeah. So you should do manual testing by doing end-to-end functionality testing with databases, APIs, and front-end. Automation with Selenium Java, you need to work with the multiple platforms. So you should consider all these things as a tester. So it's like a simple task, but it's a kind of repetition task. So that's why automation comes into picture. Same things you need to validate on a multiple platforms. The same validations you have to perform multiple times. That's why we are taking this automation into the picture, so that your manual efforts will be reduced. One time we will be preparing the scripts, so every time you can use that particular thing. But first time while preparing, you will get some difficulty, but coming to the next releases you can able to get the easy of execution of your bits. Okay, so we will be getting the outputs through emails to your company email IDs and all, so you can able to see how the outputs are coming for that particular automation script. If something are failing, then you can go and check whatever it is failing in a manual way. Okay, so this is a high level architecture. So I just wanted to give you the another overview of the simple thing before starting with the manual testing topic. So anyone have idea about the product versus project difference? Some people will say I'm working on a product based companies, and some people will say I'm working on the project based company. What is the difference between these two? Any idea?
Project means that company will
Hmm. Product? Okay. So I'll explain. What is the difference between product and project? So for example, I'll explain product first. So if you are considering the overall requirements in the market, okay, if you are requirement a customer requirement which the people can be able to use by all over in the market. For example, if you consider this Amazon application, so Amazon, I would say it is a product. Why? Because I can able to use it, you are also using, everyone can able to use it in the market, because you have developed this particular Amazon product based on overall requirements in the market. Okay, so let's say for example, I have the account in HDFC bank. So what I will do, I will open HDFC net banking login. So I need to provide my net banking related credentials over here, so that I can able to access my net banking of HDFC. For example, you have ICICI or Axis, I think. Okay, so what you will use, you will go with the ICICI net banking application, not with the HDFC, which means it is a customer specific products. This is what we will be calling it as a project. Okay, so if the product or the if the software has been implemented based on specific customer requirements. If the project has been implemented with a specific customer requirements, that is what I am calling it as a project. Which means who is the part of that particular application, who is the part of this particular HDFC bank, those people only can be able to use this netbanking.hdfc.com. Who are the part of ICICI, those people only can be able to use the ICICI net banking application. Okay, so these are all I'm calling it as a projects. If you consider any insurance portals or the medical related portal, so who are the part of that particular application, those people only can be able to use that particular application. So basically in a company's projects will be like a short time for 4 years or 3 years will come. So we will take some requirements, we will work on that requirements, and we will release that particular projects to the customers actually. But coming to product, how we are doing, we are satisfying overall requirements in the market. Okay, everyone can able to use it. So if you consider Amazon, it is like a such a big application, but HDFC or ICICI don't have that much of features. HDFC or ICICI only will support login feature, will support, and balance checking, transferring of your amounts or loan related section, and mini statements, these kind of functionalities. If you see, some 8 to 10 functionalities will be there in the projects actually. It's like a specific limited customers requirements we are be implementing. But coming to product, it is huge. If you see Amazon, how many requirements are there, everyone can able to use it. Fresh, MX player, sell, bestseller, today's deal, mobiles, prime, customer services, electronics, fashion, lot of things are there. Not only this one, if you see the hamburger menu of this one, you can able to see different categories of the products you can able to purchase in the Amazon. But it is keep on adding the more features in the Amazon application. So earlier Prime is not there in Amazon, but recent times it was kept. MX Player also recent kept. The Fresh also recent time it was kept. Earlier we have only fashion, electronics, these things. But later they are adding lot of features to this particular Amazon also, so that the customer can able to use all the things in a only one application. That is the motto of the Amazon product. So it is not developed at once, so it is keep on adding more requirement. If the people join with the product based company, so their life will be settled, because it's like a not ending process. They keep on adding the customer requirements. And one more thing, advantage of product based company is, you know all the flow in Amazon, so you already working from the long time. If you wanted to add the new features also, it is very easy for you. So that's why in outside people will say, okay, I got the product based company, my life will be settled, so I can stay on that company for the long time. And work is also is very easy. Why? Because if you are working on the same thing for multiple years, so you know the process, you know the technology, you know the tools and everything, so you can work on very easily. Okay, so that's why the product and project, anything, it is a software development only. But if it is a project, we are considering only specific requirements and we are working on that requirement and we are releasing that. So that is a project. If you consider product, so we are like considering the overall requirements in the market, and we are satisfying all the needs of the every people and every category. So that is why product will be a long term thing, and product based companies are like a securable software. See, if you are working for the project based company, if the project come, they will recruit you. If the project end, if there is no project in the outside, they will put in on you in a bench and they will send it outside. Lot of scenarios will be facing. So that nowadays lot of people is struggling with a job related thing due to this project based companies. Layoffs is happening now. If it is a project, then compulsory it will be ended, then no projects in the next cycles, so they will be getting the layout. So that's why, so while joining, if you are joining with a product based company, so our life will be easy. But if the opportunities is comes up, we will join. Last company mine is project based, but the current company I'm working with a product based company. So before that last company, I worked with the product. So it's like a mixture. But we need to check where we are working and how we are working and how we are learning. At least one project, we need to learn end-to-end concept of the software implementation from end to end, like front end to back end, and everything you need to understand, including the automation stuff. In out of your career, you can able to contribute yourself in any project development of the product base. Okay, it's not an issue. Okay, Susan, you understood like what is product and or what is project? We have a new guy. Hi, Vakul Verma. Good morning. I think you joined today only. So just check the yesterday's recording, and we have given the content what we are going to cover for the testing. Okay. Okay. So we have new guys. So I'm just repeating the content what we are going to cover with respect to manual and automation. So we are going to cover manual testing and automation testing during our course. Okay, coming to manual, we are going to cover types of SDLC. So SDLC is nothing but what I said yesterday, software development life cycle. So you need to understand how the process of new software will be. To create a new software, what is the process? That is what I'm going to explain in the types of SDLC. What are the different types we have? Out of that, Agile Scrum process is the most popular model which is the market is using. So that's why I'll explain Agile Scrum methodology. Once it is done, I'm going to explain different testing phases or stages of testing, in how many levels we can able to do the testing. That is what we are going to cover. Then finally I'll be explaining the STLC, software testing life cycle. Okay, so if you have started the testing, how the testing life cycle will be. So that is what I'm going to cover in the STLC. Once that is done, we are going to start with the Java classes, because for doing the automation, you need to convert each and every manual step into automation script. For converting that script, you need the Java language. So I'll cover the most of the core Java concepts, the basics and loops, everything I will cover, which is required for our automation. And then in the market, we have the Selenium tool for doing the automation of the thing. So Selenium I am going to cover. So these two will help us. Selenium with Java will help us for automating the website applications only. For automating the window-based applications, we will be covering the robot class. Okay. So robot class will help us to writing the window-based automation, and I'm going to cover the Appium also for the mobile-based application automation. Then finally, I'll be going to explain the framework. Okay. So framework will be, we are going to cover the Maven project structure. This is a project creation. Then I'm explaining the TestNG framework with page object model design pattern. And I'm going to explain the Git repository, how to push and pull the codes. And I'm going to explain the Jenkins for the CI/CD, because it's like a continuous integration and continuous development. So you can schedule the jobs and you can run the automation scripts by using the pipelines. Okay, that is what we are going to cover. So as we have given the demo for the overall end-to-end architecture of the software, so with the Postman tool, we are going to test some of the APIs. Okay, API testing and then database testing. Okay, so this is our course content, and our timing will be from 11 to 12 o'clock daily. Okay, so 11 to 12 is the timing, and if you have any further doubts on the content or what we are going to cover, then you can ask me. Okay, from Monday, I am going to start with the first topic of the types of SDLC, the software development lifecycle. I am going to start with the Monday, because in types of SDLC, you need to cover the three generations of development lifecycle: first gen, second gen, third gen. So we have three generations. In first generation, we have four models: waterfall, prototype, incremental, spiral. These are the four models we have in the first generation of models. In the second generation, we have fish model and V&V model. In the third generation, we have the Agile Scrum. So this is the most important model entire market is using, and these are the once the software has started, like that time they are used to follow this waterfall, prototype, incremental, and spiral. As a tester, you need to understand this process, how the development was happening. So in interviews also they are asking like how waterfall model, how prototype and incremental and spiral has been implemented. So that's why we need to learn all the four models. Coming to fish and VNV, so still some of the projects are using the fish and VNV. So I will explain where fish and VNV process are using, and then I'll explain the third generation by explaining the Agile Scrum methodology. This is the companies which they are following to develop a new software applications. So basically, SDLC is for developing a new software application. Okay. So actually, we will be having the class from Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday off will be off. So mostly, once we are covered with 1 week of classes, you will get practice things for Saturday, Sunday. So I'll give the things for practicing. We'll take some real-time example for doing the manual testing, automation testing. Once this theoretical part of this SDLC was completed, then we will get something to do the practice of Saturday and Sunday. Okay, every day just to do the recap of the things whatever we have discussed, so that you will get the more insight of what we are learning. Okay, so take the help of resume also. So I'll share the resumes for manual and automation testing, so that you can apply on Naukri regarding whatever we have covered. So you have to prepare the resume, whatever you are learning, whatever you have added in resume, those things only will be asked in the interview process. So whatever we are learning, those things only I'll be adding for the resume, and we will separate two resumes, manual and the automation. Manual will have only manual. Automation resume will consisting of both manual and automation. Okay, so you can apply and you can get the calls from HR easily. Okay. So we have less count today. So I'm going to start the thing in the Monday's class. Monday we have 11 o'clock. Okay. Okay, Sushant. We are going to continue from Monday.
Yes, okay.
Okay. If you have any concerns or doubts, you can contact the
Uh,
contact team, or
okay.
you can send me on the chat.
And told us I will continue online after I continue
From Monday onwards, continue on online. Okay. So maybe if we have announced any another batch and we have the offline guys in the next week, then I will let you know. So try to join the next week from 25th to 29th. In middle Vinayak Chauthi we will be having the leave. Okay. So these 4 days you can join in the online. Okay. So next week I'll update you. If any offline guys are there, then I'll ask you to join in the offline. Otherwise, please continue in the online only. Okay, because you are only the one which is joining in the offline, then we will continue in the online only. Okay. Okay,
same
thanks.
fees only ma'am offline.
I think it will be different, but you are the pack is one, right? For you, it is not a different actually. For you, it will be same. Okay, but the outside students will be there. Na? For them, it will be different. But you are the package student, so then it will be same for you. Okay, no difference. So you can join online. No need to come. Okay, Sushant and Tanshita. Bye. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Okay, bye.